Hello guys, Coach Theo here on Common Sense. Today we'll be talking about food addiction and how to reverse it. I've been asked many times throughout these years about food addiction, but by many people lately, so I figured it's time we do a little presentation on my best routine for reversing food addiction. So basically what people struggle the most with are these processed, salty, fatty foods, but even more so, what seems to be the biggest one for the most people are these super sweet, candy-like foods. And basically people ask or just express that, I wanna get in shape, I wanna lose weight, I'm trying to be on point with my diet, but it's difficult. I get these cravings and I end up cracking. Is there anything I can do, something I can do to make it easier? And look guys, I happen to have the ultimate hack for food addiction here. But first, we'll go through it in a minute, but you gotta think of food addiction just like any addiction, right? And all addictions are some kind of degree of escaping pain. Pain being an inclusive word, even boredom counts in this case. And that is in fact a lot of the time what makes people eat. They're just bored. They crave some kind of stimulation, just being at home and just eating something. Sensory pleasure in my mouth. And yeah, so addictions. How do we quit addictions? And first of all, of course, it helps to understand this. I just said, what need is it you're trying to meet, even if it's boredom, right? It's still gonna be difficult, but understanding always helps, right? So understanding it, and so that you maybe can come up with some other cope that's better for you, so that you don't crave this first thing as much in the first place. That's gonna be great. But then either cold turkey, quitting something completely, or gradually doing less of it. Those are the ways we do it, right? And the tricky thing with food is that of course you're going to have to eat in the end, so you can't just quit eating, but it would be the junk foods in this case, right? So I'm just saying that it's possible. Of course it's possible to reverse food addiction in this way as well. It's just that I happen to have a much faster way. But the last thing I want to say before we go into that is that you gotta, even people that realize that they're addicted to eating, I don't think most of you think of food as a heavy drug that's damaging to you, right? You're thinking of this as this lovely thing that makes you happy, it's so nice, you like it so much. And then it feels like a punishment. Yeah, I'm bad, I can't get the thing I love so much, this thing that makes me so happy, I can't have it because I'm bad. But you gotta stop viewing it that way. This doesn't make you happy, it makes you feel good in the moment, then it makes you fat and sick, the thing you now don't want to be. So understand, I'm gonna do a separate video on this, but reframing, because that's what it is for a lot of people. They feel like they're punishing themselves by not eating this crap that will damage them. So it's like I just wanna make you shift your mindset about food. It's all right that you struggle with it and stuff and all that, but try to remember that it's actually a good thing to take it away. It feels tough because you're making an effort for yourself. It's not because you're being punished, no, because you're doing hard work for yourself instead of this that would feel nice but will actually damage you in the end. So get that into your head. This junk food, it's not this happy, nice thing. It is a hard drug, all right? So we're gonna walk through the routine, but I want to tell you how I came up with it first and just how it works, all right? So, prolonged fasting, I got into, it's now almost 5 years ago, and I did a 5-day fast and I thought that was gonna be a one-off thing that I did. Then I found Snake Diet and watched Cole's videos during this fast and I got really intrigued. I wanted to try more. So I ended up experimenting a lot with the fasting. I did just some more one-off 48-hour fasts. I tried a hard dry fast, 3 days. I tried things like eating every other day for a month, only eating breakfast for a month. So OMAD, but in the morning, lots of food in the morning. I did not like that. But yeah, eating every other day. I did stuff like I stacked 3 48-hour fasts onto each other, just having 1 hour to eat in between these 3 fasts. Yeah, I did many other things that I can't even remember all of it now, right? And what I noticed was that when I did these fasts, and I planned my refeeds rigorously, right? And always good whole foods, right? I noticed when I didn't fast that suddenly how easy it was with hunger. hunger is barely a thing for me anymore. And not in the way that like all my appetite is just destroyed, I can barely eat now. No, I just barely felt the sensation of hunger, and if I did, it just wasn't that big of a deal. Secondly, these foods that had been for like the first year of my fitness journey, it was a little boring. I felt that to eat this plain food with just some meat and some potatoes or rice and some vegetables, you know. It had been a little boring, just eating for purpose, right? Suddenly, well, I'm still eating for purpose, but now these foods taste great. And I just realized how I can't miss these processed foods that I did struggle with too. I did. It was hard. It took a lot of willpower for me the first year. But it was after going through this with the fasts that, yeah, since then, I've just not struggled with food whatsoever. Like either with hunger or like craving these processed food, because I just function that way, that I don't get hungry easily now. It's not that big of a deal when I actually get hungry, and I never crave any crap. It just makes it very easy. But I just put two and two together. I saw what happened, and that was the way I talked about it. Then my friend Sim Van Dale, who is extremely well-read on stuff, he told me when I was on his podcast years ago now, he told me how it works. And it was like someone was telling me the science that I knew how it worked practically. It's like, yeah, okay, that all makes complete sense, right? So he told me how fasting scrubs out dopamine receptors in general. Like actually fasting from food might help you quit any addiction. Like not that it just kills it, but it might make it easier, speed up the process. But especially so, fasting, prolonged fasting, resynthesizes the dopamine receptors connected to the taste buds, so that you literally taste more from the foods that you know. If you've been eating these junk foods and you're struggling with it, you are like an addict that has gone on a higher and higher dose, so they can't feel the initial dose or just stronger compounds that they don't feel. First one, and doing this with the fasting, the way I describe how it experiences the most is like if you don't wear glasses but you have bad eyesight and you put on glasses, like wow, everything's so clear, I see everything. The same feeling with food, with the taste. It's like you suddenly have access, it's high definition, full HD taste, right? And the second thing is, of course, this with insulin sensitivity and blood sugar, it just stays more stable. So that, you know, you won't get these dips and random just cravings because you like, lose energy like that, right? So that's how it works. And now so what I did, I followed a routine like this myself, but this was because I just noticed the effect after the fact, like when I've done all these fasts. And I was like, if I was to do what I did, but in a more structured manner and not just doing a bunch of different fasting stuff, what would I do? And this is what I came up with. So we're gonna walk through it, talk about every little detail and why. But I want to say immediately now from the start that this is what I consider like my best routine, but I have done it with clients in slightly different variations. There's nothing that says that you have to do it exactly this way. And many times, guys, I talk often about the concept, it's in my book, my training book too, semi-structure. By the way, there's in the training book how to combine prolonged fasting and training. That I should push that more, right? I don't think there's anything else like that out there. But semi-structure, meaning that this can be a starting point for you. If you understand why things are the way they are, you're going to be able to tweak and imitate this routine for your routine. So we're going to give some examples, but I'm going to walk through, and this is like, if I were to give the one routine for everyone, like this is the one, right? So it's a weekly 60-ish hour fast. Why is it 60-ish hour? Well, it's the longest fast where I feel you can fit it in a week, get these effects that we're looking for with the food addiction reversal effects. That from my experience, you do experience that from a fast of this length, right? Why it's like 60-ish hour and not 48 or 72 is that I've found that it often gets a little strange when you do this exact, like 72 hours. If I start the fast in the morning, it's going to be that I eat in the morning and then go the rest of the day without eating, which of course I could do. But and the other thing would be if I started in the evening and I was going to do 72 hours, I'm going to have to go all the way into the evening. And what I realized is that, yeah, well, what we want 2 days of eating removed. So now you can start the fast on the Sunday evening after dinner, and you break it on Wednesday, breakfast or lunch-ish, 2.5-ish, 60-ish hours, right? And what I love about this is that you get the 2 days of fasting in, you get the effect, the fast is long enough, but the fast is just like the Sunday and Wednesday, you can kind of pretend as if this fasting didn't happen. The Sunday, you go about like you would, even if you weren't fasting, it's just that you start a fast. And Wednesday, exactly, you eat on the Wednesday just as you would, whether you had been fasting the days before or not. It's like literally a week with training and eating, and just 2 days of eating pulled out to get this fasting effect, right? And so then I suggest a 16-8 intermittent fasting with 3 meals. And look, this is because how you're going to view with the fast and how it works for the food addiction reversal. It's like the fast is faster, like cleans out what was already there, your habits, your way of functioning. But if you immediately just go back to eating too often, whenever you want, whenever and wherever you want, it's just like you just scribble down the same shit that was in there. So when we use the fast to scrub out, we need to carefully write the new code. That's part. It's like you remove old stuff with the fast, you install new stuff with the rest. So just having something to stick to, like a rigorous plan. It should be, when you do something like that, it should be rigorous. Like when I followed a routine like this, it's ridiculous how similar the weeks look. It's like sometimes you had some errand, so you ate at a slightly different time or something. But it makes it easy, not easy, but one way, apart from us needing to install this new good habit, right? Just having something to stick to, that when you are weak, you can always lean on that I know that this is the plan. This is the plan. Auto-suggest, remove the thoughts of eating anything else, the 3 meals here at like 11, 3, and 7, for instance. That's what I do. And I would suggest that you eat around your maintenance calories, right? Yeah, we're going to come back to that a little bit. So whole foods, obviously it has to be whole foods. It's the other foods that are the drug. They are the ones that have messed you up. If you clean out the drug addiction and you go back to the drug, you have done nothing. It's very important that you stick to real food. And you know, it's simple. I have my Fitness Night 101 video. You know, your meat, some good protein source, some red meat, eggs, stuff like this, potatoes or rice, some carb source, some vegetables, some fruit on the side maybe. You're just real food, all right? There's going to be 3 workouts, upper, lower, and full body workout. It's a variation of my Solar Night Apprentice program. It's just we train on slightly different days. The structure is slightly different to fit with the fast. And it's really to get the most bang for our buck with our training, like between when we're doing the fast like this. It's a way to be able to hit all our muscles basically twice in the week still. Yeah, it's like that's it basically. But it's all of this is like we want the week to look like a pretty good program plus the fast. We have our workouts, we have our meal plan or eating plan with the 16-8 3 meals, and we have the fast, right? So the idea is that when you're done with the fasting, it's going to be so easy to stay. You've practiced the good, not only done the fasting to reverse stuff, but you've been building the good stuff on the other days, not just with food, but with training as well. So when you've gone through this for long enough, it's supposed to be so easy to stay with it. Of course, if you want to level up, you can switch to a different program, but you could stay with this program. And instead of, like in this one, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday you train, would be, for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right? You're gonna, look, you could dry fast, you could water fast, like the snake juice, the salt water. All it is electrolytes to make it a little easier, make you feel a little better during the fast. But some people do great water fasting, and you can dry fast. I just wouldn't recommend it for a routine like this. But look, the concentration I've used that I'm happy with is 1 teaspoon of potassium chloride. This one is a little bit more difficult to find in stores. Might have to order online because it has to be chloride, all right? Then teaspoon sodium chloride. Most of you will know that's just regular table salt or sea salt. So a good sea salt, for instance, would be good. 1 teaspoon of each per liter of water. Then there's no amount. You just must drink. You drink by feel is the idea. If you feel a little lightheaded or something, you drink, right? Drink throughout the day. All right, so how the program looks. And we start on the Sunday. Then we're gonna, like, because this is a circle or a cycle, right? We're gonna have rested from training. We go about, eat our 3 meals. After dinner, we start our fast. So we have Monday, drink our snake juice, probably go on a little nice walk, just do stuff like that, right? Exact same thing on the Tuesday. On Wednesday, it's time to break the fast. And so I break fast. It doesn't have to be in the morning, of course, but morning, forenoon, lunch-ish there, it should be. I'd recommend to have the first meal and then go train. And look, we have put the upper body workout on the Wednesday. Training on a day when you break a fast is always tricky. However, if you're less advanced, it's not gonna matter that if you were like a little less strong or more fatigued on this day. You're gonna be able to make some progress anyway. And secondly, if we're focusing on reversing the food addiction, it's not the point that we must like have our peak performance on our training day, right? Like me, for instance, I've started, when I've fasted, with few exceptions, I've waited. Like I break a fast on a day, I train the next day, because then I'm fully replenished. I've converted my carbs I've been eating to glycogen, right? But that's of course because I don't have to reverse food addiction. I can afford to prioritize performance like that. But we put the upper body workout on the Wednesdays because if anything, it's easier to train the upper body. Well, always pretty much, but especially breaking a fast, going in, breaking a fast and doing like heavy squats and stuff, just tougher. That's why we put the upper workout there. Then on the Thursday, we eat again. We practice staying on point with our good food and we train our lower body. On a Friday, we rest, but we eat again, our 3 meals. Saturday, we eat and we train full body now, all right? And then on Sunday, we rest and we eat and we start a fast after dinner and we're back here, right? And so why it's like this, why there's a full body workout on the Saturday and then a rest day on Sunday when we also eat, it is because we want to recover from the training. Like it's both to get the most bang for our buck. Like, you know, when you train, roughly you elevate protein synthesis for 48 hours. Meaning it's like when you train, it's like you planted a seed that has potential to grow for 48 hours, right? So it's a waste, we're leaving gains on the table, it's just a waste to train and eat on a day and just start fasting the next day. We have elevated protein synthesis, but we're not making gains because we're not eating, right? Also, it's just my experience that a great way to make a fast more difficult than it has to be is to go into a fast under-recovered from training, because it's likely that your body is going to make you hungry because it craves protein for recovery, repairing after the training. So it's just a good idea to go into the fast fully recovered. And if you leave one day, if you eat on the Saturday that you train, you eat on another day, you'll be pretty much fully recovered, right? So it's, yes, that is the routine, guys. And so what I wanted to say is that, of course, this is what I just suggest, because why I suggest this too, is because this is gonna look more like how just a fucking normal, healthy person eats, like 3 times per day, good food, you know. But of course, you could be more aggressive, you could eat 2 meals or 1 meal, right? I recommend eating carbs, because that's what I think most people should do in the end. But if you, like, especially for food addiction reversal, purposes, and for someone that struggled more with sugar and carbs, of course you could go on a keto diet. It's just not my preference. It's just not what I give in my base routine. What I'm saying, that's a typical thing you could change. But also, you could do a longer fast if you wanted to. If it's more important to you to speed up the weight loss and food, because of course longer fast is basically you just get more and more of these effects pretty much. But of course, you could fast longer and maybe just remove the full body, have an upper and a lower. Or even more, you know, you could just train full body once per week. I had a client on a routine like that, I recall now. Bigger guy, right? He fasted, well, he didn't succeed with these weeks too many times, but it was like 5 fasting days, training full body on 1 day, eating on 2 days, like that day and the day after, right? So you see, but you see that there are some things you can take with you here, like this concept of not doing specifically 72 or 48, but see that how many days of eating have I removed out, and around 60-ish hours, 2.5 days, then we've taken out 2 days, right? 36 hours, we would have just taken out 1 day of eating and such. And the thing, just like for instance that, yeah, well, if you train, you'd like to take 1 day after the training and eat for proper recovery before going into the next fast, right? So you see, this is my preference. This is the routine I would give to just a random person, but there are little tweaks you can do from it. And then of course, you can run them by me in the comments. Like, would this work, right? So guys, like, honestly guys, I know, I guess this is the point I should end on here. I know this is intense, like on a weekly basis doing this, but I've done this with clients with good results. I've done it myself. Of course, when I followed the routine, I had already reversed my food addiction, but I felt great from the routine of stacking these. I did a routine like this. I remember that just for me, I wanted to cut weight slower. My goal was to hold on to as much strength as possible. So I did it every other week, 5 times, I think, plus one just longer, like 5-day fast thrown in there, right? And that's something good to know, right? That you can always throw in a longer fast and just come back to this. But you can also, what you should have, how should I put it? Let's say there's a week coming up when you've done this where it doesn't suit. So I'm doing the fast, you know. Well, then you could just remove the fast for that week. Just flip the training program, like I said, instead of Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, now it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And now, next week you do it again, bam, we started here and now we have this week again, right? That's always how I think about it, guys. And we should do another video, like how to structure weeks and how when something has to change, how do you change it so that it fits into the whole and you can get back to what you were doing again. I'm just talking. I want you guys to pick up on this programming. Programming prevails for performance, for training especially, but guys, generally, being able to program what you do. And program, it's not just having a program like this, it's something you do as you go, right? All right, but yeah, guys, that's it. I promise you, it's tough, but someone that struggles a lot with food addiction and wants to get rid of it, I promise you, if you dedicated, I mean, it would depend on the individual, of course, but I would think someone could nail this routine for like 3 months. They should be like so fine after that. Of course, it's again, it would take conscious effort to, like, you gotta stick to what you've been doing on your eating days quite a bit, even when you stop fasting, right? But like even sooner for a lot of people, that is my belief truly. But so you see, you would see as a course, a job, heavy lifting you'd have to do for some months to potentially never struggle with food again. In the way I can't see myself ever struggling with food again. I want to be very clear that while food was never my main vice, I definitely drank beer and ate junk food, salty junk food and sweet junk food, right? And I did get cravings for it, and I did have to use a lot of willpower when I started with fitness, and I did come up short a few times. It was not until I found the fasting almost 5 years ago now, but when I did, after doing stuff like this, it's been the easiest thing. And I worked with so many people struggling with diet, and so many times I'm like, man, I'm blessed. I'm so grateful that I'm in this position, because so many people have such a hard time. But now you know, if you are willing to just give it your all for a few months, this routine can make it so that the rest of your life, food is just not a struggle. All right, guys, so I'll be looking forward to seeing your comments. Please ask if you have a variation of the routine you want to do. You can run it by me. Anything that came up, please ask me. I'd like a comment anyway, it all helps. Support the channel, help more people find their way here, so it's very much appreciated. I do holistic bodybuilding, of course. Routines like this I've done with many clients, and yeah, we get jacked and stacked. Mentally, physically, spiritually, basically. Working on ourselves, body, mind and soul. Soul or night, alright? So you can send me a DM or email me, it's in the description below, and I'll get back to you with my different programs. If you're interested, you pick up my Uncommon Sense bodybuilding book. It's the little coach in the book for training. There is some fasting, but only really in that book as it relates to training, right? And yeah, if you just want to support me, the Uncommon Sense channel, you can become a member of the channel, you can go to Patreon, or leave a little super thanks comment. It's very much appreciated, guys. Please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. Doing it now, something like this, for a little amount of time, it's going to be worth it. You have it with you for the rest of your life. I promise. Peace.